East roadway widening. We've received 2 bids. The first one that's sitting on top is H&K. They do 6 addendums that they acknowledge that they have received. So
There should be a phase 1 and a phase
yeah, I was
2
gonna
bid
say it must
and a
be
total bid, so.
kind of like this price for the total bid. Phase 1 is $8,844,054. 8844,054. Phase 2 is $7,629,424. 7629,424 for a total bid of $16,473,478. 1643473,478. That's the bid bond. Bid bond. There's like, we have all those. We need to read the suppliers.
No, we don't.
Okay. Next one was from the Knife River. They acknowledge all 6, receiving all 6 of them. There's an addenda.
And
That sounds right. How about Bonneville? Okay, the bid price for phase 1 is $10,689,827.90. 10689,827.90. The bid for phase 2, $9,176,805.90. 9,176,805.90. The total combined bid is $19,866,633.80. 1986633.80. You have the bid bond in place. And since these were pre-qualified, do we need to give them to you? Or
yeah, we'll still give them to me. I'll give them to JV. They'll double check the map and everything on it. So
okay, and then we're scheduled to award.
if everything works out, we'll schedule to award next week, next Wednesday.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Oops. We got the line.
I misunderstood you on that last total, like, the math didn't come out right, but I just misunderstood.
Yeah.
3 cents, I thought you said 8.
Oh.
3, I just, it was
Yeah.
3 cents off.
It was about $1 million.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Each pay must be a little hungry.
3,400,000.
No, we'll,
Yeah.
do it.
It's a lot of gravy.
That's.
I think better about that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, if there's any map adjustments, no.
He must be H and K.
Which that doesn't include writing on the schedule.
See, and we've already spent most of that. In our cash balances like the end of last year,
Yeah,
so a lot of that was taken out, so. Anyways. So while we're,
which one?
you guys on the, do we, on the roads with that, I just just the state thing and the city thing.
It is us too. We do treat it with, so it's not mag chloride. It's a salt brine that we use, that we mix up and put in tanks and put out on the road.
So you are doing that.
We are doing that, yeah,
Oh, I didn't use you, we were.
yeah.
Used to get a lot of complaints by putting the salt brine. People, how we mess up the car, but
We haven't got as many complaints as we've got complaints when we don't do it.
Yeah, the roundabouts or something.
Yeah.
I was wondering if we could put automatic sprinklers on those, so they just pop up and spray all. Just on the roundabout.
Just on the roundabout. Yeah. That might be a good idea. Let's try to look into that.
but I mean, yeah, the roundabouts, I think are pretty important.
And we do hit the roundabouts as early as we can, so.
Yeah, you missed
John
John.
drove down and he said the highway department hadn't even been out yet.
Yeah,
I missed this or. Truly.
okay.
Okay, well, that's good. See, what the engineer's estimating about 18.
The latest was on the bottom of, well, on the bottom of the engineer's estimate. We had was 21 with a contingency of 10%, so it was considerably under the 21.
Well,
So we don't want the engineers to build it.
Well, that include right away stuff. The
No.
engineers.
Yeah,
did that include right away?
No, this did not include right away. The right away is totally separate.
They're still using COVID now.
Well, maybe.
either that or they padded their feet.
They didn't base their engineer's estimate on their fee.
How much was the right away
We're not done with it yet.
estimate?
We'll be over $2 million, I think.
About two.
And I do have 4 more right-of-way contracts for you to put today. And
How many does that leave us? One?
that leaves us 3. 2 more are expected. I've talked with them and John Hill has made their replied back to their counter offer and said we've essentially accepted it. The one at Kodiak, he wants a separate 30-foot access, and so we're gonna agree to that. I've talked with Austin about it. He's okay with it. The other one, so no, there's 4. Shumways, Hales, and Eck are all. We think we've got an agreement. The one outstanding one is Alvin Hatch. Yeah. And it's basically the strip in front of his house that we're really concerned about. And he has not, so he replied once to John Hill. And basically said, I want more. But he didn't have any comps, he didn't have any numbers, he didn't have anything else, and it's just, he's kind of not responding beyond, I want more.
How well do you know all of it?
I know him well enough that doesn't surprise me, but it's just,
They have the same, we have the same issues with Mountainland. Replacing the bridge down there, but
yeah,
at first it was a private lane and then putting a lot of the bridge replaced. Quite a bit of public maintenance.
yeah. And now he's got 41st Street through there and it's wider and He still has access to a little bit of land off the end of the new bridge that's down there, and it's. Alvin Hatch has proven to be difficult with just about everybody I worked with.
I went to school with him.
Okay.
Another Bonneville guy.
His son Bryon is usually pretty responsive. I don't know if you've dealt with Bryon.
I haven't dealt with his son too much.
He usually is much more responsive.
How do you deal with them?
I sold that building to him, building to them on 17th Street. And they bought it at a health company. Yeah.
Yeah. When they go to the state of Idaho.
He's pretty busy with all of us. Where are we on design and everything on some of those other projects we're talking about?
So Iona Road has stalled out a little bit, but we're about 75–80%. The Hammond Road widening, I just need to get the specifications. The plans are essentially done. On the signalized intersection, they're about 90% done with those.
Any idea ballpark what those are gonna cost?
Really, no.
They should be quite a bit less than that.
So the Hammond Road one, where we're just widening out the shoulders, is gonna be way less than this. So we're not rebuilding the whole road, so it may be a couple $1 million. I don't think it would be, but I don't know. We try to keep it within the right of way, and so there's no right of way tape there.
About Iona Road without the bridge.
There's two bridges on Iona Road.
Yeah, one of them is,
One of them is pretty small, but
it's almost cold.
without the bridges, it's still gonna be probably 3 or 4. Because of the amount of widening that's gonna be done, and also kind of trying to take a little bit of that kink out.
Is that just going curb and gutter without, I mean, 3 lanes without curb and gutter?
It was. I don't recall off the top of my head whether it was without curb and gutter or not. I'll have to double check.
Because it would almost be better to do it that way, and if they need a walking path, do the same idea that
Yeah.
they're talking about First Street.
I'll double check that and see what I can. It's been a while since I've looked at it, so,
Yeah, because if that's not, that gonna add a ton of money to it.
yeah, it would.
I think if you just get the roads widened. Because we could start,
Basically, it gets to be. Walking path, bike path, there's a lot of foot traffic.
yeah,
Not only,
Yeah,
that's what concerns me about those bridges. Although I think the foot traffic on the second bridge is about half what it is on the first bridge.
depends on which bridge you're talking about.
Well,
First or
first being
second.
the closest
The
to the-
closest to Rocky Mountain Mills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
depending on reserves and everything else, what would you guess the bridge?
The bridge under the design criteria that we're using is probably still over $1 million. For the bridge over Sand Creek.
So we could possibly get both of those done for about 6.
I would hope.
Just see where our reserves are next year, because this came in a little less than what we had set aside, and we've already paid for right away.
We've already paid for most of it. We haven't paid for all of it quite yet.
But the land share of it,
Yeah,
it might be worth, let's keep pushing and start looking at that for the next budget year.
okay,
Then we'll see where we are.
okay.
Were you surprised that we only received 2 bids?
No, we pre-qualified them, so we knew we were gonna have to get 2.
That's right. Is. On these others, we are going to pre-qualify.
It's not anticipated to pre-qualify, just the amount of this one was quite high, and we didn't want to have. We didn't want to have a JM Concrete try to underbid everything. So
Yeah, because the idea on the bridge, you know, if we aren't quite there, you know, we did that on Lincoln. Get the bridge down and then we neck down that way.
Yeah.
Well, that was wider. You know, but we may even look at facing it in that way, depending on where we are.
Okay. We are also, the design of First Street. In the LTAC program is kicking off and starting. And I have reached out to LTAC as well as ITD and trying to look for alternative sources of money. Because right now the design was for the 5-lane and construction dollars were for the 3-lane. I'm looking to try to find another source to get those other 2 lanes on there. And so we can do the full design, curb gutter sidewalk, the whole width on First Street.
And that would probably warrant it quicker than my overall here. Wouldn't it?
I think so, just because of the amount of traffic. The only caveat to that is the amount of foot traffic over Sand Creek there to get to Rocky Mountain Middle School and Mountainland High School. But that one's right now is at 7.34% match. And that's what I would look to see if I could get at least that kind of match or a grant or something else to fund the rest of it. Without having to maybe go through BMPO.
Why wouldn't you want to go through BMPO?
Votes,
There's only one of me.
I know the same problem we've always had.
yeah,
But, you know, hopefully.
if I can find a different source of money where I don't have to go through BMPO TAC or policy board, I will.
Yeah, I think we gotta kind of push them a little. You know, because it should be based on priority and necessity and have a harder time when they spend the money doing seal codes.
Yeah,
It's probably a different pool of money for I know.
it's a little bit different pool of money, but it's still, yeah, I don't know how to get the votes.
Yeah, that's the problem is everybody has different priorities.
Well,
It should be on
but
the
it's always-
overall.
but it's already been dominated, right? It's still dominated.
Yeah.
By the voting members from the city.
Yeah.
Who's on there for the council?
Jim Freeman's
Really?
and.
Lisa
Francis.
Bernshaw and Jim Francis.
They've all got votes. So they got 4 votes there.
Yeah. They got at least 4 votes, was it
Well, I don't know if, yes, their streets or their public works is a voting member.
not on the policy board. On the TAC, there's the 2 members of Public Works plus planning and zoning, 2 members plus Parks and Rec. So,
There's some parks right there.
he's on the TAC.
I know we kind of pushed them a little and I think they added a couple other members from Ammon or Yukon.
So Ammon has 2 on the TAC, 1 on the policy board. But yeah,
One.
they kind of Yukon and Iona are almost combined sometimes it seems. If anybody showed up.
How's, I don't know if your bylaws or whatever is set up the representation there.
There is bylaws, yeah.
Is it based on population or what's that based on?
Not sure. I haven't looked at the reasoning behind the bylaws just spells out who's got members on there. It doesn't necessarily rationalize how those members are chosen.
Well, yeah, I'm not worried about that, but does it spell out how many they have
Yeah, it does spell out how many, yeah.
and who makes up the bylaws? Does that come from
BMPO,
the MPO,
yeah, Daryl,
which is another member for
Got
that?
a
which is,
legislative
yeah,
body that
they're all city of Idaho Falls employees.
Yeah. Well, good luck with that. Fighting for us.
why I go.
Well,
Because sometimes it's really important.
well, for the longest time, we didn't have that.
Yeah.
So that's how we ended up with that. West. Block,
Yeah.
that's when the mayor really. What she didn't appreciate. You done with the map?
We're gonna take off.
Oh,
Actually, we'll run numbers and to make sure, I don't know what your budget is for doing both phases, but we'll let you guys make that decision, but we'll get the stuff back.
with that number, we'll go ahead and do both phases.
Okay, we'll go with it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well. just make
Hopefully
sure.
the math works
I
out.
know they're on like 3.3 million, which is, that's a pretty big delta there, so we'll double check things, but. You know, they're hungry and they're kind of big, so.
Well, they packed all the equipment up from our neighborhood.
Yeah, so
All the state projects they were working on, they finished.
I think we got some really good bid numbers there compared to the engineers estimate was, I was stressing over this economy right now, but I think we got some good numbers there. It looks like a lot, but there's a lot to do out there.
Now, who's doing the engineering on that one?
Well, on Hammond Road is Forsgren Engineering, on Iona Road is Keller. On the intersection at 25th East, north of there is Horrocks.
Thanks.
Thank you guys.
All right. You guys are special, you get the big ones.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
All right.
We're working with those guys on the tie-in right now, but.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll do that, let's get
Okay.
it. Under today.
Okay, thanks, Jordan.
Yeah, we kind of, did our best estimate at the end of the last budget year. That's pretty much the number one priority, because our took care of a lot of the other things we were gonna use for the church. So we had 20 million set aside there. And if we would keep it down 17 or below, see, that's 3 million there. You've got, whatever we come up with next year, carry over.
Yeah.
That's why I was curious what the cost would be on those. And then possibly a third year, which I'll leave these guys to figure out. Like, to him and maybe him. So, may, because some of that would carry over into the next budget.
Yeah, well, and I'll continue to look for, there's a lot of federal dollars kind of out there, and so I'm gonna be trying to beat the bushes to try to find out any other source that we can get some funds from.
That would be really good. Yeah.
Okay, anything else?
Just a update on a few things. Here is a picture of the gate at Eagle Path and what they've done to make it passable by an ATV and snowmobile around it.
Of course, we still haven't closed the gate, have we?
We haven't closed the gate yet. It hasn't gone impassable yet. And we won't until we need to. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's for some machines anyway, so.
Why not for a snow cap?
It is not wide enough for a snow cap, no. It is a touch narrower than I was telling them to do, but I was up in Coeur Lane and I couldn't tell them to widen it out further, so.
Doesn't work. Why put that a little more next year?
Yeah.
So. Major storms coming to at least another week or 10 days.
Hopefully at least another week, yeah. There was a little bit of snow and it was drifting up there from last night and stuff. They were out plowing again. Royce is up there putting in some snow dikes where he can. I have not got a permit system completely ironed out yet for those who may need keys. I don't know how many keys I would anticipate having to make either.
Just just registered on the landowners. First time you got Boyd Sweeter, lease,
Yeah,
cows. You know, but see that one where he's not a landowner. And of course, that Gary Simmons is one.
so what I'll do is I'll try to have at least some permit conditions and stuff for you guys to look at next week. And try to outline that as far as how do we try to control this if we do issue a key out. So, I don't know, I can think of all sorts of conditions, but I don't know how many conditions need to go in there, so. I'll try to have something for next
At
week.
least they can't include vehicles, so it causes the damage. Yeah, has to be tracked.
Yeah,
If they don't close the gate or give their key to somebody else, they could lose. Could lose.
and that's where that whole could, will, shall, I mean,
Well, it depends on what they've done and how egregious it is. I think you just gotta leave it to you guys.
Yeah.
You know,
I'll continue working on that. Few other things we do want to talk about, Idaho Department of Lands did communicate back with David, and I'll let him talk about that, detour on 115th.
For the snowcat travel. I had I guess, a question, do you know, is this $500 fee? Is that a one-time fee? It is.
Yeah, so. We renew every year now until the end of time.
Okay.
It's just the one-time process.
So we were figuring it's probably gonna cost around $850 for signage. That's a sign, well, it's the U-channel post to the diamond. And we're gonna have just an arrow pointing at a 45-degree angle, I guess, something similar to that, just on one side.
According to the. Folks in the two counties that play with for the Caribou Loop Trail. If there's a American flag logo on there, it's way less likely to get shot at. They figured that out when they put a bunch of arrows up and they all got shot up, and then guy from Southern Utah says, put American flag sticker on there. Says, they don't shoot at 'em. So they did it, it's true. I think that's just crazy thing. Just thought. Oh,
So,
American flag decal right up there.
so do we have to, I mean, if we have an American flag detail, are we putting the markers in the center of this easement? And they can go to either side of it?
So I was thinking the inside,
You
with
guys,
the arrow pointing, okay, it's
Yeah.
trails here. One on either side of the post, it's pointing that way. Because we have to install these every year and remove them.
Yeah, well, at least we'll find out. Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah, we'll know the first year.
yeah, whether it's true where they pack it down. I'm not sure it is. You know,
Yeah.
because those roads up there, they will snow for a long time.
We'll have to get it signed and sent back to them and. It's putting up some posts, I guess.
Okay. Want to show you a picture. This is on Lincoln Road. East of Bone Road. So the farmer out there is putting in a pivot. And he decided to put the main line straight through the stormwater culvert. So,
that's clever.
well, it's not clever. There's a lot that have tried it, and as many as we have caught, we have stopped, and we did catch him in the way. He hasn't been told to stop work and to come get a permit, but yeah, he went right through our stormwater culvert.
Who's the farmer?
I didn't get a name on it.
I'm not sure the farmer is running for rent who's installing the main line for them.
Is that just going past the intersection?
It's about a mile past the intersection evidently. So if you get a call from them up there, it's like, no, you can't just put your main line pipe through our culvert.
Do they have to repair the culvert and everything?
They should be repairing the culvert, yeah. And I don't know what all that
You
entails.
should really be hoping there's not a rainstorm that does a bunch of damage because it can't get through there.
There's, that,
It can be responsible for that too.
and, you know, cause that might be, but Johnson. We'll pull up that.
Okay. So if you go to where Bone Road and Lincoln Road intersect. Yeah. We'll go out about a mile east of that intersection. Yeah, towards Blacktail, and it's on. I think well, it's going from north to south, so
You know, for
any of those parcels out through there, if they're. Schwindeman. It's probably Russ Schwindeman that doing work. You don't know exactly what that culvert is? I do not know exactly where the culvert is. But I've known Russ long enough to know that. That's certainly something that he would try.
Well, I'm sure that was just temporary.
I went up like that.
me too, you're gonna.
Change how the music came.
Yeah, that's a good trade. $2 for $20 bill.
Darn, man.
Yeah, you should see the used car I got.
For $18?
Okay, where is it up there?
I'm not exactly sure. I was told it was about a mile east of the intersection, so if that's the case, it'd probably be Russell's limits.
Yeah, they own both sides.
He owns both sides in a number of those areas through there.
That's kind of them.
Yeah, I would assume that's who it is.
So, yeah, you're right,
Not long ago, I was told those pivots are free. There's so many government incentives to give them to use some pivots instead of probably if you're replacing groundwater irrigation.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of that.
And it's certainly not replacing groundwater there.
Yeah,
No,
There's no surface water anywhere close to use. Anyway.
Did rain for it stop?
They evidently stopped, yeah. They're supposed to be coming in for a right of way permit.
Doc, got the road then, just go through the road.
Yeah. And putting the patch back on it is not a good time of year to do that.
no. No, is that, yeah, it's paved.
They grew
Preston said he seen a boring machine out there, so maybe that's what they were
maybe a little more.
planning to do until they seen, hey, there's a hole here we can use.
Yeah, sure.
Like pretty good sized pipe.
Yeah. Pretty good size. Update on 45th West. They are essentially done with that project. They did get it paid. They did get all the intersections put back together, went through a punch list with them yesterday. Some of the landscaping and stuff like that is gonna have to wait for spring. Permanent striping is gonna have to wait for spring too, but they're substantially complete, it's open to traffic. So if Mr. Vandershoot calls again,
Yeah, that's good.
the cell 4. Yeah, up at the landfill is essentially complete too. They've got a few little things to button up, but they're essentially complete with the liner and they're essentially ready for garbage as soon as we have to.
Take a look.
How much longer do we have before we move into it?
So the latest estimate said we may be able to wait until spring.
Good.
And in conjunction with that, evidently the commissioners did get a request for response back to our request for extension on the 3 to 5 year. Let's see. Yeah, they did give it to you. I've got a couple copies here for you. Amanda wrote back and she did not agree with the time frames that I totally had. They have down here 60 days for most of the compliance things instead of 90. They did agree to the 180 days for the item 2. They went 90 days for item number 13, which is the removal of tires. I don't think 90 days is still gonna be able to totally work with that, but they did have on here that the commissioners may need to request additional. I have reached out, we've tried to meet with Amanda and to talk about this and talk about the things and how we get it back to them. She is going to be out of state on the timeframes that we presented to her. And so it's likely gonna be the second week of December before we can meet with her. We were hoping to meet with her with the engineer from Great West on December 1st, but Amanda's gonna be out of town from the 1st to the 7th. So we'll continue working with DEQ and try and work through this and just know that their original timeframes were totally unrealistic. Having it all by November 30th next week was just it's not gonna happen. So. I think that's all I have to discuss. So.
More rumors on more rumors on the hatch pit.
No, I haven't heard. They were hoping by the end of December to have a preferred alternative chosen and published. But I haven't heard anything.
The awkward thing in kind of looking at property owners out there, is that property still owned by City of Idaho Falls.
And part of it is still owned by HK.
Has each and K won't be as hard to deal with, but the city has a chance to get a big paycheck. And I think that's where they're pushing anyway, and it takes away our leverage to block it. You know?
Yeah. I did talk with Jess Trosper at HK a little bit about his other pits. And right now, his other pits, most of them have at least a 20-year horizon before they're out. And so he couldn't think too much about any of his existing pits and where we may be able to work with him to go to. But he's not the only pit owner around, so.
How long the land that's open pit, the Rockwell bought, how long would that take to fill
I'm not sure. I really. It's a lot deeper than the hatch pit. But I don't know how much they're actively. Putting stuff in, so.
It's, just north of Costco. Back in towards the. Sugar factory. And there are other pits back there.
There are other pits back there,
If you plot those, then they climb down the walls.
and
Was I looking at the wrong intersection or is the one not put a gate up yet?
he hasn't put up the gate yet.
That's what I thought when I drove by, that I was looking at the right place, that the asphalt's starting to get broken up on the. Pull out where they're. And then out and
Where's that?
on Lincoln,
Over at the.
where Doyle was in such a hurry to get that.
We put
All done.
the concrete approach in for him, and where he was gonna put the gate,
Yeah,
nothing's
been done.
Did ours. And it gives us a good thing to beat him up over. He knows,
Yeah,
he knows we need. Basically, we did what we needed to, it's up to him now.
it kind of gives me a reason not to. Be in too much of a hurry when we talked about his subdivision.
I saw one of those little plaques that you hang up. I'll see if I can find the, get ready for him. Which you mentioned. All in word.
He could use a couple of. Okay,
Hey,
thank you. Thank you. Any concerns coming up for Thanksgiving? I mean, we're,
no, we hope, well, and it won't happen this year, but we always seem to get a big snowstorm that call everybody in. On
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year. So
Yeah,
this schedule is strong.
well, I talked to the school district and they're not gonna run school buses on Thanksgiving Day, so we don't have to have the guys out.
oh, thank you, yeah.
There's
Okay,
no school all week.
yeah. Okay,